Hello and welcome to part one of the new project. And it's this, Clearprop's I-16 in 1/72 scale. Tiny, tiny little thing. Hopefully it won't take too long. If you haven't seen it, pop over to the sprue tour video and you'll be able to see in detail the plastic sprues. What a beautiful kit this looks in the box. I'm really looking forward to getting started, and it is absolutely tiny. As is traditional on these videos, what I'll be doing is talking you through the sort of idea in mind I have for the model, what the sort of focus is going to be, any aftermarket, and what marking choice, if I've made one, I'll be doing this in. Straight on with the aftermarket then. Let's have a look. I've got a pile of stuff here. I have first some canopy masks. This is the starter set, so no canopy mask, no photo etch like you get in the advanced set. In fact, as I record this, I don't think they do an advanced boxing of this quite yet. Therefore, I've gone out and I've bought my own masks, Edward and Peewits. But why two, you may ask? Well, the reason is I'm going to do the one with the short canopy windscreen thing, not the enclosed windscreen that slides forward. I think that's a real feature of the I-16, the open canopy with the fixed windscreen. Therefore, that's what I wanted to do. Because it's going to be open, I always, if I can, paint the inside of the canopy framing. I think models look a bit weird when the outside is painted the interior colour and then the exterior colour goes over the top. There's this funny translucent look and it looks really odd to my eye. So I always try and paint the inside. Now that's going to be a bit trick because obviously this is tiny, and one of these, I don't know which one yet, is going to have to get cut up because the inside radiuses are obviously smaller and it's going to be a right fiddle, but it's going to be worth it. So I wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't for these. The only other aftermarket item I've got is this. It's a Yahoo instrument panel. Now, if you haven't seen these are amazing. They are colour photo etch, laminated, and how they do it, I don't know, because the printing is amazing. When you look at Edward's colour photo etch printing on their instrument panels, there's a kind of texture to it, like a speckly effect, which must be how it's printed, like a dot matrix printer type thing. You can improve them by spraying a layer of matte varnish over the top, and that will kill the most of that speckly effect. So you can get around it, but on these you don't have to. I don't know if they're screen printed or what, but they are beautiful and they're very cheap. It's only a few pounds. So I nearly said it's well worth it. Actually, this aeroplane, I think the instrument panel is buried quite far forward under the top sort of cowling thing. So how much of this is going to be visible in the finished model, I don't know. But I think that the focal point of any model is the cockpit, and the focal point of the cockpit is the seat, especially an ejection seat if it's a jet, and the instrument panels. Therefore, I think this is well worth the few pounds it cost. And that's it for aftermarket. Unusual for me, I tend to try and throw everything at a project, if I can. I was tempted to get the Edward set for it. That has all sorts of detail, internal in the cockpit and external, such as the undercarriage covers and the like. But I just thought I wanted to do this really quite close to out of the box. What I am going to have to do though is find some solution for the lack of seat harness. I might scratch build it from a bit of lead foil and some wire, or I might see what I've got hanging around spare left over and try and use something like that I can get away with that looks like a Soviet era seat harness, but it won't be that accurate. I don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see. I'm sure this is going to be a quick build. I mean, this is the kit here. It's sort of 2 sprues and a small sprue with the upper wing halves on. So effectively that's the airframe and that's the internal detail and all the other greeblies. Not a great deal going on. There is some cockpit detail which is really, really finely moulded. How much of that you're going to see through that tiny little opening, I really don't know. But I'm going to do my best with it anyway and, you know, do a wash, dry brush and all the rest of it. I may exaggerate the contrast in there. A, as I said, because it's a small opening. And B, it's such a small scale, it needs some lift, some pop. So we'll see. What I'll also do is use the kit instrument panel and the decal and put side by side so you can see the difference. I don't think this is going to take that long, which I'm really pleased about. And it'll go together with super glue, which is my standard thing, again for a bit of speed and also negative shrinkage. So we'll get on to the painting straight away. Well, not straight away, but very quickly. There are 9 options in here. There's actually 8 airframes, but one of the airframes has 2 different paint schemes from 2 different periods. As I mentioned, I'm going to go for the configuration, the aeroplane configuration that's on the box top with the fixed windscreen and the open cockpit. There is an option, quite a few options, in fact most of the options for the early sort of enclosed hood. But I think it's a bit of an iconic feature is the open cockpit on this thing. Which means there's only a few options. Options 8 and 9 are on the back. The top one, 8, is silver. Clearly not natural metal because it was a fabric covered aeroplane. I don't know what the fuselage was though actually. Whether that was metal or plywood or something. I'm going to have to do my research on that. But there are some metal panels, so that would be quite nice, getting the contrast between the metal panels and the sort of silver dope / silver paint. But it's actually quite a bland scheme. Just stars in 6 positions and 1 small numeral on the rudder. The one underneath that I think is quite nice, which is the green over blue with some red stripes underneath and just a number on the tail. Now I do have the MRP AMT whatever it is colour for this olive green, and I really wanted to do that, but to be honest that's a little bit bland. I think that scheme, it's more interesting underneath. The only other scheme that you could do, right, this is where the 2 aeroplanes in one comes in, is grey 230, which is quite attractive. It's dark green over a light grey with light grey tail fin and spinner, big numbers on the fuselage, but it's in that dark green. Oh, and it has white stripes over the top of the wing. That's a really attractive scheme. I quite like that. It means obviously I can't use the MRP colour, but I really like it. But what's even nicer is over the page it has the blue tail fin and spinner, which right, that's colour M. It just says it's blue. Right, so it's a little bit darker than the AMT whatever colour it is, the underside blue. I'm sure I'll just use that blue and then darken it down a little bit. But I really like that scheme. At the moment, I'm going to go for that one. Now I could do a heavily weathered airframe, I think, and then just do a freshly painted blue tail and spinner. That might be quite nice. That tells a story in itself. Or I may weather the whole thing. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's going to be good fun, I think. Now, Russian aeroplanes tend to have a very shiny metal strap band thing around the nose. And I've got some ammo of MiG self-adhesive foil that I'm going to use for that. I've not used that before, and I'm looking forward to having a go with that. So that's how I'm going to recreate that. All round, it's quite an exciting project, I think. I'm looking forward to getting this up on YouTube, all of it, because I think Clearprop, as I said, they're a really nice, friendly, small company relatively young, that clearly have been going through a bit of a tumultuous time with the war and all that kind of stuff. And I think they fly under the radar a bit, and they deserve a bit of publicity. So in my little way to you guys and the viewers out there, I'm gonna shout Clearprop's name quite loudly, because frankly I think they deserve it. And we'll see how this kit goes together, and I'm sure it's going to go together really, really nicely and really quite quickly. That's it. That is the Clearprop I-16 Type 5 in 72nd scale. What I'm going to do now is pop over to the bench and we'll get started. So look out for the next episode, which will be the cockpit, and you'll see what solution I come up with the seat harness. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.